and it's yours.
All right. I see Michael's on here tonight. Michael, I didn't hear back from Julie. I was involved in meetings all day, but I'll follow up with her. I'll be back on campus again tomorrow. Yay me. Get to be there every day this week. But I will follow up. We can't do anything until she gets your account squared away. She said she's dealing with Taskstream, so I will follow up with her. I saw her earlier today and she did not have a resolution, so we'll try to get that done. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Good evening, everybody. I'll do a screen share and all right. So let me move that out of the way. Content, I'm going to go to. All right, all of you, I had one call me today that just got her email working, and so hopefully she'll get online pretty quick on as soon as she gets in. We'll get her squared away. But if you're having problems with access to Taskstream, you don't have an account, you didn't get an email, right here as it says, you got to contact Julie May, May 6, and tell them who you are and what year you enrolled and what semester and all those if you're in the 12 or 20-month program. Once you're in, I'm your man, but I can't help you until you're in, because she's the one that has to purchase the accounts. I would do that, but I don't want to. I don't want to be involved in having to deal with the business office.
And Julie is a good person to work with too.
Yep, she is. She's easy to work with. But life's too short to deal with the business office. So she's kind enough to do that. So that's a good thing. All right. So when you get into your Taskstream account, as I told you, I'll make it look like your version. And you go into your MSA program, either 12 or 20 for the spring of 24, it will look like this, where it has it by course. This course is a 12-month. They just have Mel 603, 1, 3, and 5. And they have, but everybody's content is the same. You have 6 evidences: APSEL, APTEL, OMA, SKIP, CAP, and SOP. You have dispositions and you have competency analysis. You can do your School of Ed dispositions at any time during this semester. Your competency analysis needs to wait until you have completed both the APTEL and APSEL, because you will have it written, because you have to write your competency analysis between the two of them for all 21 of your competencies. So make sure that you wait to do that now, and it tells you what you do. But you come down here and it says Final Competency Folio. Now, if you click on that, it just tells you to upload a folio. You say, well, I don't have a folio. Well, that's the purpose of tonight to start with, is to build you a folio, but you need to build it yourself. You said, well, Dale, why don't you build it for us? Well, if I build it for you, I would be the owner. If I am the owner, you won't have access to either share it or copy it or put work in it. So you're going to build your own tonight. Now, I have built the template for it, so that's 95% of the work. And getting up and going. Now you've got to put your artifacts in it, and we'll talk in a few minutes about what artifacts are. So when you log into Taskstream, the most important part is do not go into your DRF. You'll just have one right here. I've got dozens, but you'll just have one. Do not go into your DRF. What you need to do is understand this is a separate web folio that you're building, that you're going to build it completely. You'll have the same one for all semesters that you're in the program, whether it's 3 or 5. You'll just build one. You don't build a new one each semester. You build one. You continually add to it over the life of your program. When it's completed, you publish it, copy it, get the link, and so that you can give it to prospective employers, or you can get your digital teaching and learning CEU credits from it. And then what you will do is you will upload it, and you will upload it into your DRF portfolio in that place that I just showed you there. But that's the very last thing you do in this program. So if you do it before the last day of the program, you've done it wrong time. You wait until the very last day and do that, the very last day of your program. All right, so how do you build a folio? Well, you come up here to where it says Folios and Web Pages, and you click on that button. And you see that button right there. Now this, before you ask in the chat or before you, whatever, yes, there's a video. Yes, it's already in your Blackboard class shell on how to do this. It's about 2.5, 3 minutes long. But I'm going to walk you through it tonight so you can see what we're going to do. So once you click on Folio and Web Pages, the next thing is to create new. And we will name this one. Always put your name in the title. What it is. I'm going to go ahead and do the full title for y'all today. And then you need to put the semester at speed. All right. Spring 2024. All right. And once you've got that, you'll hit the create new button. Now, I need somebody to do this tonight to make sure it's working, because sometimes I have to go in and reset it. So what you're going to do now is you're going to select the template. As I said, I've already built the template. It's rather involved, and so I've already taken care of that for you. That's a half a day of my life I'll never get back, but that saves you a half a day. All right, so go to Custom Templates, designed by your learning community. That would be me. And now you'll get a drop-down menu. From that drop-down menu, you will look and you'll see the one that says, and this is the only one that you need, it's competencies for 21st century leaders. You click on that one and continue. Now, you're going to browse a theme as to what you would like the cover of yours to be. I'm just going to pick the first one, which is pencils. I'm going to pick the pencils right here. That's my layout. I'm going to apply that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out, and I'm going to come back in, and I'm going to find that one now. So I'm looking for pencils. You won't have this problem. You'll only have one. There it is right there. You'll only have one. And you click on that, and there it is. There is your competency folio all set up and ready to go. So now, what is a competency? There are 21 administrative competencies for school administrators in North and South Carolina. There they are on the left-hand side of the screen. They are communication, change management, conflict management, creative thinking, customer focus, delegation, dialogue, inquiry, emotional intelligence, environmental awareness, global perspective, judgment, organizational ability, personal ethics and values, personal responsibility for performance, responsiveness, results orientation, sensitivity, systems thinking, technology, time management, and visionary. Visionary ends the 21 competencies. You say, but Dale, you've got 2 more categories here. Yes, I do. I've got the digital learning competencies here. Now, I'm going to say this now, and the first time I get an email, I'm going to remind somebody, I told you that. Nothing goes there. Got it? Everybody understand? Nothing goes there. This has to be in there if you want to get credit, CEU's certificate credit on your license. You know, every 5-year cycle, you have to have so many specific types of credits. This folio will serve as your digital teaching and learning credits. I think you have to have 2 or 3 every cycle, and they're kind of hard and expensive to get. And so, because I have added this box, and when you click on it, you can't upload anything in it. It explains what's in there. Even if you click on the red links, there's no evidence link, but it shows your district and the DPI the different digital teaching and learning competencies that you have accomplished during this program, and you will get your credit for that 5-year cycle because I have added this particular box. Now, I didn't add it for you to put anything in it. It has to be there in order for them to give you credit when you apply for your licensure renewal. So that's why that box is there. It has this in it that explains what you've done right here and right there. and that will save you a bunch of money. Getting 3 digital CEUs is rather expensive, and so you're paying enough for this program. That's just one of the benefits and bonuses. But then you'll say, but Dale, there's another box down there that says internship logs. Yes, there is. That box is for your semester logs. As I told you, please do not go into your DRF portfolio where it says internship logs and put your semester logs in and submit them. I have to send them back. The place in your DRF portfolio for internship logs is only for the end of your program. The next to the last thing you do, the next to the last day of your program, the last day is your competency folio. The next to the last day is you put your internship logs from all semesters, whether it's 3 or 5 in there, and they are adjudicated. However, since we like you all so much, we're going to give you the opportunity each semester to put them here as a repository for 2 reasons. 1, you won't lose them. And 2, we need to check them so that when you submit them to the state with your portfolio at the end, just like we checked your evidences and paid the state grader to pre-grade them, we're going to look at these and pre-grade these as well. But we want to do it by semester so we give you time to catch up. It's not like you can just rewrite these. These are hours. These are activities. If your activities are out of balance and you've got too much bus duty and not enough leadership activities, we need to catch it while you still have time to correct it. This is not just, well, I'll just go change my log. You better not attest to something you didn't do. The internship log is a record of the hours you spent on your clinical internship at your school. It's not a quick and dirty that you can just fix by changing the wording around. You got to know in time that you can go back and make some of those hours up the next semester. So we'll check them every semester to make sure the ratio is correct. Now, what is the ratio? Well, let's go back to Dr. Stedman's class here and go under MSA and Competency Folio. So right here, here's the video on how to set up your Competency Folio. So right here, I'm going to go to this one. I'll just go to the scale. Nah, I don't want to go to that one. No, Dale, no. Let me go back out and come back in. Yep, I want to go to this one. So in your clinical handbook, we explain all this for you. It's right here on my screen. And here are the activities right here. I'll download it so we can get a full view of it. So not only have we told you what you need to do in your internship in terms of what the hours can be or what we'll approve and what the state will approve, we've told you the ratio as well. So as you can see, by far the longest list is leadership activities. By far the shortest list is supervision activities. And by the middle list is technical. So it kind of goes 60, 30, 10. 60% needs to be leadership, 30% needs to be technical knowledge, 10% supervision. As I've told you before, and I'll be redundant, there's not a real steep learning curve on bus duty. Once you've done it a time or two, and A, you didn't get run over, and B, you wore a coat long enough, like this morning when it was 25 degrees to cover you behind, you pretty much got bus duty down. So we can't see a bunch of hours on bus duty. Hall duty, cafeteria duty. Yeah, you got to do those things, but you know, that's not what school administration is about. So it needs to be 60, 30, 10. We're going to check that ratio at the end of each semester. We're going to check what you're doing, and we're going to check that ratio as well to make sure that you're not too heavy on supervision and not getting enough leadership activities. Now, if God forbid, your school has to go remote, or if you're at a remote school, if you're at a virtual school, we have a lot of folks who are at virtual schools, and the first thing they say is, well, we're at a virtual school, we can't get hours. Yes, you can. Dr. Hamilton and her group put this together back at the beginning of COVID for us right here. Here's how you get the same activities, but you can do it virtually right here. So these are for when schools are in session. These are for when school is not in session or virtual. This is how you get your hours right here. So that's what goes in this last box down here. Internship logs by semester so that we can check them. You submit them, and then you request comments from your clinical coach. And they will be linked to that so they can say, yeah, that looks good, or no, that's too much bus duty. Or no, that's not enough technical activities. You need to talk to somebody, assistant principal, about letting you work in power school, let you see some of this technical stuff that you need to learn. And so that's what that last one, the digital learning competencies, is simply, it's there as a resource for when and if you publish this and submit it for your digital teaching and learning credits. Since it has the explanation here, they will grant you that. Now, let's talk about what goes under each of these boxes. Communication. Now, if any of you have ever been in the military, find the manual, read the manual, follow the manual. If you do that in life, it's amazing how successful you can be. So when you click on communication, it's going to tell you what we want if you'll read it. Now, I don't want to get an email. What am I supposed to put under here? It tells you what we want right here. One of these three, so it says, we want 3 artifacts right here. We want one from the app cell, one from the SOP, and open-ended. Now, before you say, well, we didn't do the SOP this semester. No, you didn't, but you did the app cell. So you could put one under there from the app cell, and you could do an open-ended one from your clinical experience, something that you did in clinical that had to do with communication. Do you remember that email permission you got to form a PLC? Isn't that digital communication? That's an open-ended one right there. And so one of these, and it says one of these 3 must satisfy the following digital learning competency. Make sure you read that. Promote and model positive digital citizenship, as well as practical policies for communication and collaboration. Like if you send a note home to parents through email, wouldn't that be a digital communication? It's what we're talking about. Just follow the directions. Now, if you don't know what an artifact is, we have 6 evidences, and then we have artifacts. Artifacts are the byproducts of the work of a school administrator, according to the state definition. All right. Where can I find my artifacts? All right. In our handy dandy, we've got documents under that same place in Dr. Stedman and Dr. Hamilton's shelves. Let me go back to that. It's in the handbook, but right here. All right. What are the open-ended artifacts? Well, it's real simple. I've got a map for you right here. If it'll open, you can do it. There you go. It's that same list of activities that you do during your clinical. Those things that we have you do, we've mapped them. So if you address a large or small group of adults and somebody will take your picture, that would be an artifact for communication or dialogue inquiry. Or if you had an agenda from that meeting, we need a thing. We need a thing. Camera. Everybody carries a camera with them every day, all the time. Just have people take pictures. Take pictures yourself. That's an artifact. It's a thing. It's a byproduct of your work. If you conduct a parent group meeting where you're going over something new, like a Title I meeting where you're covering the new rules or regulations, and it has to do with change, that'd be an artifact. If you got somebody take a picture of you up front pointing to an easel or a whiteboard or an overhead, that would be an artifact for change management. And so forth and so on down the line. We've got these already. We tell you, if you've done this, that's an artifact for these competencies. We've already got it. We've already got it streamlined for you. So this is where your open-ended artifacts come from. It's from the activities that you do as a clinical intern. And we've got them categorized for you. So if you attend a school board meeting and you don't know what kind of artifact that is, I'll tell you right here, it's a systems thinking artifact. It's just that easy. Get somebody to take a picture of you sitting in the back of the auditorium asleep at the school board meeting. You're a better person than I am if you can sit in the school board meeting and not go to sleep. But if you get somebody to take a picture of you asleep at the school board meeting, that'd be an artifact for systems thinking. That's where you get your open-ended ones. You say, but Dale, where do we get those that come from our evidences? What are those? Well, we got a handy dandy document in here for that as well. And so what we've got right here, and it says open-ended, it says artifacts from the 6 evidences. So I'll open it up for you. So you're working on the app cell now. All right, that email permission, as I said, that could be an artifact for competencies 1, 3, 6, 12, and 20. You say, but what are those? Well, right here's the list. Competency 1 is communication, just like I told you. 3 is conflict management. 6 is delegation. We've got them again. We've got them linked for you, so you know that PLC agenda. When you set up your first PLC, that's that could be a competency for any of these as well. PLC minutes, that's an artifact. Pictures of your PLC meeting. Look at those 1, 3, 6, 12, and 20. Right here's the list. 20 being time management. It'll fit in one of those. We're sure. You can put it in any of these. The total set of validated scores when you do your data dive, when you get to task 2, task 3, research study abstracts, when you do your lit review and annotated bibliography, and then pictures of video from your action plan or action plan presentation. Those are all artifacts that you generate from the app set. Just either have it or have somebody take a picture of you with it. When you do your app tell later this semester, here are the artifacts that you will generate from doing it. When you do your OMA with me this summer, here are the things that you will generate, the artifacts that you will generate from having done that. When you do the skip later this summer with me, here are the artifacts that it will generate. When you do the CAP in the fall, here are the artifacts that it will generate. You say, but Dale, where's the ones for the SIOP? And it says clearly right here at the bottom, competency folio artifacts from the SIOP are found in various locations in the first 5 evidences. What that means is the SIOP is not new work. The last one is putting the first 5 together. And so if you've got one of these things, and you've already got an artifact for that in the CAP, or say, so you can put most anything can go under the SIOP, is what I'm saying. Since it's a compilation evidence, it's not a standalone piece of work. It's a copy and paste from your first 5. And right here are the 21 competencies, and you just plug and play. So that's what goes in this competency folio right here. And we tell you, so when you click on the button, one of these 3, for the second one, app cell, SIOP, and open-ended, one of these 3 has to be digital learning competency like this. Establishing new systems to analyze and share data. When you did your data dive and you did something digital on it, like an email or a presentation, that's an artifact for that particular digital teaching and learning competency. So they're embedded. Now you say, but some of them don't have them. There's only 18. There's 21 competencies and 18 digital learning. So 3 of these won't have one. So you just get a break and put whatever you want that semester. Make sure you read these and make sure that your artifacts fit. That way the state won't kick, and they won't kick when on licensure getting your digital teaching and learning competencies as well.
Dr. Lamb,
that's what you do.
Dr. Hamilton just shared something that just came out on digital competencies, and Dr. Hamilton, share that very quickly before Dr. Lamb moves on.
Well, I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but I did put the attachment to the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction website. My daughter's teaching license expires in June, and she didn't have enough digital teaching and learning credits, and so she sent me an email that she had gotten from central office saying that on January 4th, DPI has changed that, and they no longer require in the state of North Carolina digital teaching and learning credits to get renewed for your teaching license.
There's the issue.
So that's the difference between what we're talking about right now.
Exactly.
Yeah, but for your teaching license, that's not going to be required now. So, and I did in our email to the professors, I put the links to the DPI, to the licensure policy 005 for North Carolina Department.
Yes.
License, not for the work to get your license through this process.
That is correct.
Thank you, Dr. Hamilton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we went over that. I was on DPI, what's today, Thursday? Wednesday, I was with DPI for an hour and a half of my life that I'll never get back. Yep. I've done a few things in my life that I liked less than that. But I was with them on Wednesday. So yes. Some districts, unfortunately, are still going to require it though. The state is not, but you know your district is who recommends you for license renewal, unfortunately. So that's still a kind of a brouhaha right now.
I think, Dr. Lamb, I think that's an important point, what you just said, like in school administration in general. So like the state can say whatever. So you have to do that. But then the LEA, your local agency, can have more stringent rules.
That is
They
correct.
can't have less stringent rules, right?
Exactly.
They can apply more stringent rules. And same thing with board policies or anything else.
That's exactly right. Next semester, when law, we'll learn it goes federal, state, local. And as Dr. Hamilton said, you can't do less than they require, but you can always do more. And so just like we're already in the middle of one problem about that already. Right now, the state is going to waive digital learning, but districts are not, a lot of them are not going to. So we're going to keep it in. Now, the other thing that we're in the middle of that's a problem right now as well is the rules of being eligible to be an assistant principal are going to change in August of this year. You're going to have an MSA, not just an add-on. You're going to have an actual degree. That's why we changed, and all of you are getting an actual degree that are in what we used to call our add-on, you second master's 12-month program. Now, here's the deal. We went ahead and made the change when the law changed a year and a half ago. We went ahead and did that. Because guess what? Some school districts did, mainly being Wake, said, we're going to go ahead and adopt that now. And you can't get in our applicant pool unless you have an MSA. Well, but wait a minute, the state's not going to require that for 2 more years. We don't care. We're allowed to add more. And that's what Wake County did. And they forced us to go ahead and make that change 2 years ago because, you know, Wake and Charlotte, that you do understand that in North Carolina, Wake and Charlotte have as many students and in Mecklenburg as the rest of the state put together. And so they're the 800-pound gorilla sitting on the couch. Whatever they decide to do, everybody else has to follow suit, whether we like it or not. Having worked in one of those, I can tell you, and we had the ego and the arrogance to go with it, and guilty. That comes with the territory if you work in Charlotte or Raleigh. I worked in both. You know, you think the world revolves around you. And so until CMS and Wake drop digital teaching and learning, a lot of folks won't, because they think that that's rigor, that a cut above. So even though the state has dropped it, they haven't yet. And even though the state is not requiring an MSA yet, both Charlotte and Wake are requiring it. They went ahead and jumped the gun a year and a half ago. So you got to understand, you can't go running to, you know, your principal or to the central office and say, but look, the state says this. Yeah, we can do more. We can add whatever we want to on top of that. And so, unfortunately, as I was involved with, as you know, Wendy left. When did she leave? Last December? Not this December. Last. Has it been that long? And so I had to do licensure all summer. And I had to do it for the professors at Gardner-Webb that are in the College of Ed and undergraduate that want to keep, they're required to keep their teaching license. We had to do digital this summer. I had to help them with this. And so, yeah, it's still a thing, unfortunately. And so that's why I said, I'll be so happy to get out of the licensure business. I didn't sign up for this. Yeah, it's drama, always drama, dealing with DPI and large school districts. All right, so that's what goes in here, and that's where you find your artifacts. Now, the question is how do I upload them? Well, you see this row of handy dandy buttons right here. Now they all got words on them. Read the words. Don't just push one of them at random. All right, so you say, I've got a PDF. Which one of these should I pick? Well, that'd be a text or an image. A picture is a text or an image. A slideshow is a Prezi or a PowerPoint. Attachment is for a Word document or a Excel spreadsheet. If you've got a link to YouTube video, there goes a link. If you just got an MP4 video, there's the button you click for it. Make sure you click the appropriate button for the type of media that you're trying to upload. Don't be like one of the students the other day that I had. They sent me a document, and building a Qualtrics survey, and I said, I can't do anything with it. It's a picture of the survey that they took like out of a book. I said, it has to be a Word document. So I sent it back. They took and pasted the picture on a Word document and sent it back. I can't make that up. I work with some of the dumbest people in the world. Pasting a picture on a Word document doesn't change anything other than, so understand text and image, that's either a JPEG, a picture, a PNG, a screenshot, or a PDF file. That's what text and image is. Slideshows, a PowerPoint, or a Prezi, or some of these other Google, whatever their version is. If you've got one of them, then you got to click on the slideshow button. Please don't use the wrong button and then call me and say, Taskstream's broke, it won't take my stuff. Well, no, it won't if you don't try to put the right media under the right button. Attachments, again, are for Word documents and Excel spreadsheets. Videos are MP4s, YouTube links. So click the appropriate button and upload your stuff. But the most important part there is click the appropriate button. Read the definition of what goes under that one, and it will upload your stuff. All right. So that's how you build your folio. That's what you put in it. You put your artifacts. And so 5 semester people, you do a half each semester. Make sure you get half of them done. Except in your first semester, you'll do all of them because you're doing 2 evidences. Your 12-month people, you'll do a whole round every semester. So in the end, we have to have 3 artifacts for each of the 21. So 21 times 3. Anybody? That'd be 63, wouldn't it? So you got to have 63 artifacts, a minimum of 63 artifacts in your portfolio for it to pass when the state grades it. And again, we'll pre-grade your hours, and we'll look at this before you submit it and send it off. And another thing is one of the things that we'll do is we'll look at it, and I'll just tell you, I'll hurt your feelings if it looks like you might as well have done it with paper mache and crayons. I'll tell you that and tell you, don't send it to a prospective employer. It only helps you if it's nice and professional, well presented. I mean, I've seen some that's like, oh my God, it looks like a 5th grade art project. Don't do that. Don't get exquisite with colors and fonts and all that. This is a professional presentation. You're not trying to entertain anybody. You're trying to convey information in a professional setting. Don't get crazy with fonts. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Yeah, it'll let you do all kinds of stuff, but make sure it's a professional looking document. How many of you have ever been to your state conference put on by your state Department of Education or state Department of Public Instruction? They have a template. I was a presenter in 2011. I was, that was my last hurrah in public education. I got to be the keynote at the big one at Curry in Greensboro, there where the disco is, the nightclub. I got to do that. They have a template that you have to put your stuff in because they don't want it to look like some child did it. If you've ever been to one of those conferences or ever presented at a professional conference, that's what it's supposed to look like. I see people, unfortunately, spend a whole lot more time on the graphics and the art and all that kind of stuff than they do the quality of the artifacts they put in it. We want good quality artifacts in there, and we want you to present it in a professional manner. Michelle?
Just being proactive here, but in the tasks that we've been doing, like the graphs and charts and things, some of them have been pictures, you know, like I screenshotted and
Yeah.
saved in the pictures and then pasted them into the Word document. Is that going to be a problem?
Well, again, because we're not going to have to copy and paste and put it into Qualtrics, it won't be a problem for this.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, it'll be fine here. You can put a PDF or a picture on a Word document and upload it as an attachment because we're not having to try to pull text off of it.
Okay.
I'll show you in a few minutes when we do Qualtrics. I'll show you why that's a problem in Qualtrics. So yeah, that's a good question. But
Dr. Lamb,
yes, sir.
hey, can you briefly elaborate on the internship hours, the difference between our 12 and 20-month students, so we know how, because I know at some point everybody will submit a total of where they are kind of midpoint of this semester. So can you kind of just do a quick breakdown of what they the hour breakdown for each group?
All right, nothing would make me happier. All right. So in your course shell under MSA handbooks and Competency Folio resources, there's a handy dandy document. I believe the 601 staff, all of them on with us tonight, Dr. Stedman, Dr. Hamilton, Dr. Revis, Dr. Crawford, and Dr. Nutting, they made you a handy dandy document so that you would know the differences and stuck it right in there for you. And so let me pull that up. And here we go. North Carolina Department of Public Instruction and South Carolina Department of Education require you to complete a minimum of 500 clinical internship hours. The following represents what this should look like based on your programs. All right, now, 100 hours each semester for you 5-semester people. And it tells you what that breakdown is, and it tells you when they're due. Obviously, for you 12-month people that are only going to be with us, you got to do 200 in the fall and spring and 100 in the summer because it's only half as long. So you'll do 200 this spring, 100 this summer, and 200. And again, we got them broken down here, and they tell you how you can count them. So everything is in this handy dandy document right here. So you just look, all you got to be able to know is which program you're in. And if you don't know, we'll do like we do with kindergartners who don't know which bus they ride. We'll just pin it to your shirt. I'm in the 20-month program. I'm in the 12-month program. Once you know which program you're in, it's a handy dandy guide. All you got to know is which program you're in. All the elementary principals smiled because they know that's what we do. That's what y'all, I know y'all don't believe it, but I was actually an elementary principal nearly 40 years ago for 5 years. I know that's hard to believe. But I'm so old, even high school people, you had to sit in the seats back in the day. And so
Dr. Lamb, also pinned that note to your shirt with a straight pin. It was not even a safety pin.
that is correct. You were supposed to be smart enough to know not to stick yourself with a straight
Well,
pin.
that's exactly right.
No, there was no child safety caps back in that day. I can tell you that. They didn't put covers over the outlets or buttons on the stove that you couldn't turn on. That was called a learning experience. And so as long as you know which program you're in, you'll be fine. Just follow the directions right here. And thank you, Dr. Crawford, for reminding me on that. So again, so you'll know how many hours and where they can come from. They've got it parted out for you right here. And they've even got it by semester, what you should be doing. So all you have to do, and then right here is the log that you keep it on. And here are the activities that you do, either virtually or in person, right there in that one handy dandy document right for you. So right here, this is what you document it. Now, I'm glad that he brought that up. So I'll explain the column headings here for you. The date, that's the date that you did the activity. What did you do? Which competency do you think that this goes with? And we've got it pretty much parted out for you. Now, we've got the number of hours that you did it. And then we got this column called proof right here. Now, That column is optional. So let me say that again. That column is optional. Why do I have a column for proof? I have a column for proof in terms of where did I put it? What does the proof look like that I did that? Now, you won't have one for everything, so that won't make a good artifact to put in your competency folio, will it? If you've got a proof, though, oh, wait a minute, I've got a proof. I can make that into an artifact. I got a picture of me leading that parent group. But if I didn't get a picture and I have no proof and it's blank, so as I'm keeping my log, it's a handy dandy record of, oh, I've got proof that I did this. That can be an artifact, or I didn't get a proof. Nobody took a picture of me asleep on bus duty, so I don't have proof that I did that. So that can't be an artifact. But that's what that column is for, is when you're logging what you did, and I would log every day or two. You know, what did I do? You know, if you sleep, you forget. I do. And so the notion here is I did this activity and I have a proof that it could be a competency folio artifact, because I've got this picture, I've got this agenda, I've got these minutes, and I just say, yeah, I've got one. And I write down what it is. And to remind myself, when I go at the end of the semester collecting up my artifacts, I go back to my log. Oh, here's the stuff that I've got proof of. That could be an artifact for me. It's a handy dandy way to kind of keep up with yourself. You think you won't forget, but you will. And so I would even go as far as to remind myself where I put it. I write myself notes all the time. I carry notebooks for everything. Y'all will find out next semester when y'all have me. I take notes on every piece of work you turn in, every piece. I think I'll remember it when I get to class next week, but I won't. So I write it down. You need to learn to get in the habit of having a system for time management, so you're not spending half your time trying to find stuff. You will not be a very effective administrator, time management wise, if you don't learn systems, hacks, shortcuts, so that you're not always trying to figure out where your stuff is, or you forgot it, or what am I doing? You got to become a very disciplined person on keeping your notes, keeping your stuff, your files, you know, thumb drives, you know, backing up all your documents. Otherwise, you're always hunting stuff, always. And there's 1,000 moving parts to being a principal every day, and time management concerns and not being able to keep up with your stuff can't be one of those 1,000 things, because that's a force multiplier. Then it's 2,000 things, because you can't ever find anything. So again, they've got this handy dandy document for you right here that tells you about how you can get your internship hours. We've got a place on that internship hours where you can remind yourself that you have proof of, which is an artifact. You have proof that you did that, and it can be turned into an artifact if you can make it into a thing, a picture of it, an agenda, minutes, whatever, a screenshot. That's what that's for. Now, I always get people who are, you know, I can see it in their eyes. They're sitting there thinking, boy, this seems kind of over the top, all this record keeping and all this stuff that they're having us do. How do you think you're evaluated as a principal? I'm on the standards commission, by the way, for DPI, for EPPs, for education providers. How do you think that principals are evaluated? On the basis of evidence and artifacts. You just thought you were going to get away with this when you got done with this program? This is just the introduction, folks. We're teaching you a system that not only works for your state portfolio when you submit it to get your licensure in North or South Carolina. This is the same system that you're going to have to learn to navigate for your performance evaluations when you become a principal. Unfortunately, you will hear evidence artifacts the rest of your professional life. And we're teaching you a system of how to keep track of it, to log it, to catalog it, to have it at evaluation time, and how to use it and understand what the difference in evidence is. A document that you create for evaluation purposes. An artifact cannot be created solely for the purpose of evaluation. It is the byproduct of an administrator's work. You have to, they are not interchangeable terms. You have to know the difference between an evidence and an artifact.
Dr. Lamb, I will just say that Dr. Lamb had a student years ago named Romy Wheeler that was my assistant principal for 4 years, and she and I were a great team. And we had a process for keeping up with every piece of parent communication we had, and a process that we could access the parent communication that the teachers had had. We had a situation come upon us, and the district office asked for artifacts, evidence of what had occurred, and artifacts to support it. We went all the way. You can call her and ask her. We went all the way. We had papers one night lined all the way up and down the hallway. We had appendices A through Z, then AA through ZZ, all the way through ZZ. That's how much evidence, artifacts we had to support the evidence of what we were stating occurred. And we didn't hear anything else about it after we sent all that paperwork in, just so you know.
Yeah.
That was the end of it. They didn't even want to read all that, right?
Yes. Yes. That's exactly right. And at evaluation time, you don't want to be scrambling around trying to, figure out, well, what did I do or not do? The burden of proof is on you at evaluation time. You have to produce all these things. So clarification came in from Cameron. Should we be tracking the time we spend our PLCs as time toward internship hours? Absolutely. Yes, you should. You should be tracking all the time you're spending on your evidence work. It helps you with your clinical hours. I mean, you're learning, you're doing things that you're going to do. When you get to be a school administrator, you are not going to be running, you're not going to be running PLCs, but you're going to be supervising PLCs and watching who does run them. And so that is an administrative function. So yes, you can count that. That's, armies travel on their bellies, schools travel on PLCs, folks. They are how we get our work done in the school business. So yes, it is an administrative function, PLCs. That's a wonderful thing. And that's the kind of stuff that folks are interested in seeing. Now, believe it or not, I know that you will find this hard to believe. No prospective employer wants to read your evidences because they have to read evidences all the time from the people that they're evaluating that work for them. So nobody wants to read your evidences. I do. I like reading them. But nobody normal or with good intelligence wants to read them. But boy, guess what? They love to see your artifacts, especially if it's pictures. They love to see those. They'll even ask you at the interview, do you have a link to your, to your portfolio? They're not talking about your evidences. They want to see your competency artifacts. When you go out and apply for a job in any field, one of the things that they want to see is an electronic portfolio now, samples of your work. So the issue is how do you have experience if you've never been in the job? Well, this is a way that you can show evidence of your work and show that you have experience doing these things, although you may never been assistant principal before. And so trust me, school districts love to see that artifact folio, that competency folio, to see the kinds of things that you did. They don't want to see the seasons change by your attire while you're standing out on bus duty. Oh, it must have been hot that day. He had on a t-shirt and shorts. Oh, he had a long coat on, covered his behind. Oh, that was either January or February. They're not interested in watching the seasons change with your clothing. They want to see they want to see you with a group of parents, with a group of teachers. They want to see you, doing things that symbolize leadership and school administration. They want to see those things. They want to be able to project you in the role. That's the most important part of getting hired, is that they can see you and project you in that role. Do you remember in the first season? Most of you won't even understand, never even heard of the TV show. You remember the first season of the Andy Griffith Show, when Andy went to Raleigh? He left Barney in charge. And the first thing, stupid thing that Barney did was give Gomer a gun. And the second was deputize Otis, the town drunk. We want to make sure that you're not going to give Gomer a gun or deputize the town. We got to think, we got to be able to project that you're a solid, dependable person that we can give the keys to and be able to sleep at night. We got to project you in that role. That's the most important part of getting hired. If you come in with your hat on backwards, looking like you've been at the race or the ball game, and your portfolio might as well be in crayon, nobody is going to put you in charge of anything. Nobody is going to give you that magic ring of keys and let you be in charge.
Dr. Lamb,
Yes, sir.
before you move on to Qualtrics, may I share something with them right quick?
Please do.
So folks, next Thursday, I am having my own mid-year with my area superintendent. For those of you who don't know, in North Carolina, new principals only get a initial 2-year contract, and then they decide whether or not they're going to extend you for your 4-year terms. And then at the end of that first year, they got to make a decision on new principals by April 30th. So I am rapidly coming up on that date. And so with my mid-year coming up, I wanted to show you just exactly what I've shared with my area superintendent with regards to just what we have done thus far this year. Now, we keep it simple in Winston, which I like, and so we're evaluated on the principal evaluation rubric, all those 8 competencies. They want you to put in your goals and your school improvement plan goals. And then basically you need to talk through exactly what it is you're doing under each of those and provide evidences for each of those areas. And so for strategic leadership, these are some of the things we've done, I've done thus far. Here I can actually put in links to the various documents that I have. So these are all individual Google Docs when it talks about instructional leadership. As you see, I am throwing the kitchen sink at my school to work on improving scores. So a lot of this deals with reading, teacher practices, professional development. We talk about cultural leadership. Here I focused in on our mid-year discipline summary, which I'm actually really happy with, even though it's not perfect. I'm happy in the direction that we're trending. Our panorama survey, human resources meeting. So again, when Dr. Lamb tells you that is, this is something that's going to be ongoing. This is, again, what I spent a couple of days putting together for my own meeting. How do you talk to your parents? Well, I attach a newsletter to my Sunday call with the SMORE. So I, show what I put in there, how I communicate with parents. So this is just an example of the way it's done here in Winston, again, through the lens of the evaluation document. But what are you doing relative to your own goals, relative to your school improvement goals, and then relative all to the principal's evaluation matrix. Thank you. I just want to show them real time what that looks like.
Thank you. Now, please understand, in Winston, while Dr. Crawford is new to them, he's not a new principal. He's been doing this for a considerable amount of time. So they let him shorthand his evidences. When you get to be principal for the first time, you will not get to shorthand your evidence explanations like he did. You saw he had his evidences on one side and the links to his artifacts, his things on the other. When you're a first-time principal on that first initial contract, as they call it, a probationary contract, you will have to have a full evidence, kind of like you're writing right now. So we're teaching you and preparing you for that first contract principalship. Now, down the road, even if you change districts and you're new to them, if you're a veteran principal, they'll let you shorthand it like he did. But they won't let you do that the first time. You'll have to write those evidences out. I did this on this day, just like you're doing now. They'll make you write then. So you got to understand the evidence artifacts are going to be your life. As long as you're in school administration, this is how you will operate on a daily but yearly basis. And if you're scrambling around trying to find your stuff all the time, You know, if you're like Henry, looking for the striker. So I was in high school chemistry 50 years ago. 50 years ago this year, I was in high school chemistry. Is that right? Yeah, 50 years ago this year, I was in high school chemistry. And Henry got his Bunsen burner out, hooked the hose up, turned the gas on, and then started looking for his Bunsen burner. As I stepped back after about 30 seconds, I said, "Here, use mine." It burned a hole all the way through the ceiling and all the way through the roof when that fireball went up. Took Henry's eyebrows and bangs right off. But I had stepped back before I handed him mine. But things kind of blow up in your face if you can't find your stuff, though, is the metaphor here. And so don't be Henry. And everything's always an explosion or drama or a crisis because you can't find your stuff. You need to learn you a system to keep up with your stuff. That's very important in the school business. All right, so that's Taskstream for tonight. Qualtrics. Qualtrics doesn't take but a minute. I'll get to that one. Let me share my screen. So everybody's got a Qualtrics account. I hope it works. It's been wonky all week. I hesitate to do this, but I need to tonight anyway. All right, so let me get some of this stuff off my screen. So when you sign in to Web Connect, in the same menu where it says Launchpad right here, where you find email and Blackboard, you can move your favorites up to the top. But if you'll scroll down this list, you'll see Qualtrics first-time users. You'll click on that link and establish your account. Gardner Webb's already paid for it for you. Then you'll go in where it says sign in, just like mine. Hopefully it'll work tonight, and it'll make you sign in using your username and password a second time. And we're in. Welcome to XM. All right, we're in Qualtrics. Now, what Qualtrics is, it's a survey database data analytics program. It does all of them. We can create surveys, but the beauty is we can also collect the data inside of Qualtrics in the survey, and we can do analytics inside of that. It's a one-stop shop. And it does us some handy dandy graphs and all kinds of things. And we can validate our surveys as well in it. So we do not use any, let me be very clear on this. We only use Qualtrics with our surveys, period. We don't use Google Doc or SurveyMonkey or any of that stuff. We only use Qualtrics. And you're going to do a survey this semester for teacher empowerment. It will be Todd Whitaker's five levels of teacher empowerment. But now it's very simple. You will build it and you will send it to me. I will publish it, copy it, and send it back where you can distribute it. It's pretty simple. It's just 5 questions. The idea is to get you to where you can do that. So the hashtag's up here on the top left next to XM. That's where your menu is. It's going to look like this. I've got plenty of them. Alicia, teacher empowerment survey. It's simply going to have 5 questions on it like this: no and yes. Teacher has input on professional development offerings at the school. Teacher plays a role. It's simply going to look like that. These are the 5. It's got to have your name in it. Otherwise, it defaults to everybody else's. So when you go in to build your survey, and I'll go back here. I'll go back to home. So welcome to XM. Down here at the bottom left, it says create a new project. So the first thing that you'll do, you want to create a survey. You can do it. Get started over here on the right. All right, untitled project. First thing you do is type your name in. And then you write in teacher empowerment or Aptel survey. I don't care what you do. Create project. And it's going to, all right, we're in the sandbox to build a survey now. And so what I'm going to do is I know that I'm going to ask 5 questions. They're going to be multiple choice with 2 choices. So I'm going to reduce the choices right here from 3 over here to 2. And I don't want them top to bottom. I want them left to right. And trust me, you want them left to right. You want them horizontal, not vertical. So I'll go down to the alignment and simply change it to horizontal. I want the first choice to be no. Say, well, Dale, why don't you put yes first? Because the first one on the left is 0. This counts 0, and we count the score up. So this is going to be no. And my second choice is going to be yes. Now you say, but now you got 3. It thinks it's smarter than I am, so I just have to take it out. It's AI enabled, and so it tries to tell you what you ought to do. And so that's what it's going to look like. And I'm just going to click to write the question now. Before I do that, I would be smart simply to copy that one, and then that one I'll copy it, and then that one I'll copy it, and then that one I'll copy it. Now I've got 5, and they're numbered correctly, and all I got to do is copy and paste that empowerment survey right here on this, and then simply collaborate it over to Dell, and I'm good to go. So what you would do then is you would go to your Word document. This is what I was talking about earlier. You build these surveys on a Word document. You go to your Word document, and I'll go to one here. Let me go back here. I'll go back to Dr. Stedman's shell. I'll go to Aptel template. All right. So I'm simply going to do that. I'm going to turn that black right quick. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the numbering off of it because I don't want it double numbered. That will ghost onto that. I simply do that. Just do a copy. Control V. Again, it'll ghost you sometimes. Just got to pay attention to that it sometimes ghosts you from paper that you were on. Anything that's hidden or been formatted, it will ghost right on to your paper. So just check it. And then you just keep going down the line till you get, you just copy and paste all 5 of them in there. Now, I've got a publish button right here. It won't let you publish. So what you'll have to do is just simply hit this, the hashtags when you get it done. And come back to projects, and it will be right there. You'll just have one, and you come to these 3 little dots over here to the far right, and you hit collaborate, and you send it to me. I am D. Lamb. Save. And it will send it to me, and I'll get a ding in my email, and I'll go in, publish it. There, you heard the ding in my email, and I'll send it back to you, and then you can just, when you get it back, it'll be just like that. You just hit this, and you hit the distribute button, and it will let you, it'll give you a link to email to people to distribute. Get a single reusable link right there. And there it is, copy survey link, and you can email it to anybody you want to. And it will be a validated survey. And then when we get it back, we can run analytics right here, data analysis and results out of the same place where we collected it. It's easy peasy.
Dr. Lamb, as a reminder to them, you won't have another coaching session until we begin the AppTel, which is about week 8, I think it is. You'll get information.
And I'll cover this again.
And it won't be on a Thursday night. Dr. Crawford and Dr. Hamilton are going to be gone on that Thursday night. So we've moved it to that Monday when the town hall would be. It'll be the coaching and town hall will all be combined. And at that time, Dr. Lamb will revisit
Yes,
it for you for the AppTel. He's just introducing it now. So,
again,
and Dr. Lamb, didn't you say they could go in there and play with it?
yeah, they can do all they want. They can't hurt anything.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. We've removed all the sharp objects. You can't hurt yourself. You can go in and play all you want to. Just make sure you get an account. You can do that. Now you can't distribute surveys until I give you permission to do that, and I have to publish them and send it back to you. Then you can. But yeah, you can build all you want. You can see how all the different functions work. It's a lot of fun. It's another skill set. You have to, in professional life, you have to use this. Everybody's outlawed SurveyMonkey and Google and all those things. And so when you go to your next graduate program, you'll have to use Qualtrics. So you might as well learn now. And it's also, most professional settings make you use this. If you're collecting data in your district that your district has approved, you have to use something like this. You can't use SurveyMonkey and other stuff that you can just make stuff up. It has to be a validated document. Those of you who haven't had 602 yet, you'll learn about validity and reliability. You 3-semester people who've already had a research course, you understand validity and reliability. A valid survey measures what you intend for it to measure. I just took my watch off a minute ago. It snags on the computer, but I wear a validated chronometer. What that means is the time is valid within so many seconds. Greenwich Mean Time, all the time. It is a valid measure of time. However, it is not a valid measure of weight. Thank goodness for me. You say, well, but it's valid, but only for time, not for weight. And so we have to use validated documents that measure what you intend for them to do. And so we know that Whitaker's survey is already validated, but we'll validate it and publish it. And then you submit it. But a lot of my doctoral students, a lot of work that they do, we don't use existing surveys because the world has changed. And there may not be a survey that fits exactly what they want to know or the data that they want to collect. So we make our own all the time. I validate them. We send them out. We do all kind of analytics, run chi-square. We do all kind of neat stuff. Doesn't take but a minute. It's a handy dandy thing. It has, Dr. Stedman and I, when we did our doctorates a long time ago, all this stuff we had to do by hand and by paper, and the analytics, there were no computers. The analytics took forever. We got a little mainframe time with terminals at Chapel Hill, but in my master's program, I used key punch cards and the analytics were very, very limited. And now I can do more with Qualtrics than I could do with a mainframe back in those days. And I mean, in a matter of seconds. It's amazing what you can do. It has made research so much easier, collecting validated data so much easier. It's not scary. The name's a lot scarier than the process. It's easy to use. And I'll go over it with you in depth again when we get there, but I wanted to introduce it tonight. Make sure you get if you can't either go through the sign in or new user, let me know. And I had lunch with Lucas yesterday. And so, I bought him lunch so he'd be ready to help us if we have any problems with he's the person he's the owner over in IT. So, it's just like when you have pizza at school and you invite the custodian or the maintenance man or the guys from the bus garage in, that's what how that works. So Lucas got lunch on me yesterday, but if we have Qualtrics problem, hopefully he'll help us. So make sure that you can establish your account, and I think you'll enjoy using it. It's easy to use. You can change the direction. You don't have to learn all the rules yet. I'll teach you when you're a doctoral student. It gets a lot more complicated then about the orientation of the questions, the choices, and all those things. But right now, it's just something fun to do. It'll be easy way to collect survey data at your school. You can just email people the link, and it'll be a neat little thing. It looks really professional. Has Gardner Webb's logo on it. It looks really nice. It looks like you're really smart and worked really hard on it. It takes a minute. You don't have to tell people that this takes a minute. All right, we've run over our time, but that's okay. Michelle, you got a question?
Yeah, this is a question for me personally, if you want me to wait.
All right, we'll wait then. Anybody else got anything for the good of the group? you all seem to be doing well. You've kind of weathered the storm here. You know, I saw a few of you sniffling a little bit. But you know, if you're crying before it gets to be Valentine's Day in the spring or hog killing weather in the fall, you generally won't make it. But seems like y'all are doing pretty good this spring. It's not quite Valentine's yet. Might be a few tears before you know it, but hopefully, hopefully you will all stick. And you know, as we told you, it's really it's tough. This first month is tough, but after that, it gets easier.
Dr. Lamb,
So
somebody
hopefully
just
it
said that
gets
their Taskstream setup worked. I just saw that, so
easier. Almost,
they've
I'm
tested.
just amazed. It's almost like I do this for a living. I'm just as surprised as you are that it worked. Thank you for that. All right. Anything else? All right. Well,
No, before we close out though, I just want to clarify something. He was talking about when we got our doctorate degree, Dr. Lamb used ink and quill and he read hieroglyphics. That's all. And that's how I'm going to conclude.
I did. That's absolutely the truth.
I take
I
every
got
opportunity
mine.
I can. He'll get me first.
I got mine 33 years ago. 30, soon to be 34 years ago. I got mine. So it's been a minute. That's true. It was a different time, but yeah, I had a big turkey feather. I had a big one. I got big hands, and so I used a quill and a pen and an inkwell. That's exactly right. It's been a long time. It's a lot easier now, folks. If you're planning prepared, the technology makes your job so much easier. But you know, if you were a nitwit back then and you're a nitwit now, it won't work out for you. Technology won't save you on that part. So you know. In the immortal words of Barry Johnson, immediately retired safety director at Gardner Webb University, we had a little roundabout out near the tennis courts, and students kept wrecking their cars out there. And somebody said, well, what are we going to do? And so Barry got him a big old sign out there and had it painted. And it says, pay attention. Can't make that up. Y'all have a good evening. I'll see you in a few weeks. Good night.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Lamb.
Lamb?
Dr. Revis, Dr. Nutting, do you have anything you wanted to say? Okay. Okay. Good night,
Have
everybody.
a great
I
night.
still have my question.
I'm
Okay,
waiting.
we're gonna hold off. Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay, real quick, I did a survey on Google Forms. Should I have